Hi, and welcome to all of my Black Clover fans. Today I want to dive into the world of Black Clover Mobile. I would like to talk a little bit about the game, how I feel about it, address some things, and look at the game's current situation. For all of you who don't know about it, Black Clover Mobile is an anime gacha game. That means you must try your luck to obtain your favorite characters by spending in-game currency, called pulling. Doing that only gives you a certain chance to get that specific character. This usually means unless you get insanely lucky, you don't have the chance to get all the characters you might want to have. You have to save up for them unless you open your wallet. The game features different modes, the most important one being the story mode, where you can play through the story of Black Clover in this beautiful 3D animated style in exchange for story tickets. While the story gets released piece for piece, story tickets can also be used for a different game mode that lets you fight past bosses from the story to earn some crystals, which are probably the most important currency in the game, as it lets you pull for characters. This you can do when you're already done with the current progression of the story. Then there are also these four modes that let you farm different upgrade materials for your characters and equipment. This last game mode here lets you farm affection for your characters, which is needed to ascend them. Besides those, there is also a section with different levels that rotate a couple times during the week, and the tower mode, which you can clear to also achieve crystals as rewards. This one gets reset every month or season, so make sure to always clear that as soon as possible. I will discuss more about these different game modes in future videos. So now that you have a basic grasp of the game, let's get to my opinion on it, shall we? I think Black Clover Mobile so far is a really great game. I have been waiting for a good Black Clover game for a while, and this one definitely has the potential to be better than the previous game. The animations in the game look very beautiful. The style is very authentic, the characters look gorgeous, and the animations for the special attacks are absolutely stunning. It also offers several features, different game modes, changing events, character customization, equipment crafting, and much more. I also think it is very free to play friendly so far, starting off with the amazing reroll system at the beginning, where you pretty much get to choose your favorite character from the starting pool of characters. Which ones you should be aiming for I will also discuss in future videos. We're also getting a lot of free crystals and tickets from the game, for example through first time level clearance, characters' birthdays, and daily rewards and missions. All in all, you have the chance to collect a lot of crystals and save them up for your favorite characters. I hope that will stay the same for Global. Yeah, that was pretty much my opinion on the game so far, and now I would like to address a few things that people keep bringing up about the game, some positive and negative things, and tell you what I think about them. So, first up, we have the story ticket situation. As I explained before, to clear out the story, on top of the stamina that gets used for every activity in the game, you must also spend a story ticket for almost every stage in the story, which for most players is a very big downside since it slows you down and doesn't allow you to rush through the game. By default, you can regenerate a total of 6 tickets. I think it's one every 3 hours. I could be wrong, but it's around that time. And the only other way to achieve these tickets is by spending crystals, which I can already tell you you don't want to do. While I can understand that some people are not very happy about that, I must honestly say that I don't have a problem with it, because at the moment for the JP version, the story itself already progresses fairly slowly, with a new chapter being released maybe every month. And besides that, there's really not a huge amount of other activities to keep you busy. So, sure, you can't rush through the story, but let's be fair, is that really necessary? It doesn't bring you any advantages to do so, except for being able to farm the crystal stages every day, but you earn crystals through playing the story as well, so that's that. In total, I don't see this as a problem, but actually as a good thing, because it keeps you busy longer and provides a good method of farming crystals, because you can use the story tickets afterwards, and yada yada yada. So, yeah. Next up, I want to talk about the equipment situation in the game. A big part of making your character stronger is to equip them with gear from different sets that match the character's type. I'll explain more about that later as well. The only way to get these gear pieces is through stages. There are 3 different types, each allowing you to farm different gear sets. The monsters in those stages are all from the same type, so naturally you are trying to counter that type as best as possible. And this is where we run into a problem. In the beginning, like very early in the game, it is very difficult to build good and stable team comps from a single type combination. For example, the current best sets in the game can be farmed in the red stage, meaning you need a full cast of blue characters. The thing is, most of the SR characters are not that good. Not good enough to get you all the way to stage 15, because that's where you can most reliably farm the best variant of these sets, which is in UR rarity. On top of that, these higher rarity gears have very terrible rates. We don't even know the rates ourselves, but getting a UR gear is very, very hard. So in total, farming gear is very hard already because of the limited character choice, and chances of getting good gear are very low, making it even harder. Frankly, I think it is quite a balancing problem. I believe that farming the best type of gear shouldn't be easy peasy from the get-go. So in my eyes, it's not a huge problem. I actually like the challenging fact of it. It was something that kept me pushing to keep on trying to beat the stage over and over again, and it made collecting characters even more satisfying because it felt like with every character that I got a step closer to reaching the goal. Because now that I can farm the stages without any problems, I run it on auto every time and check in again when they're done, and there's just no real fun in that. I see more of a problem in the rates though, because they're pretty ridiculously tedious to farm. If, for example, in 1 out of 20 clears you might get one UR piece, then most of the time it's even one that you can't use because you don't need that set. Or it's like an attack set on a attack piece on a healer set, and most of the time you don't need that. So maybe it would be good if they would implement some kind of pity system for gear as well, or make it so that you can craft higher rarity gear with lower rarity ones or something like that. In total, it's not a huge deal, but it's definitely something that can be a little annoying. As I briefly mentioned before, a lot of people complain that there is currently not a lot to do in the game. I have to agree. Once you cleared the story, you pretty much do your daily missions every day, which takes maybe half an hour and then you're done for the day. Except if you decide to farm some gear or something. The events that they released so far kinda helped with that a little, but they mostly revolved around beating some kind of enemy without it being too big of a deal. So the content in most cases is not super challenging in my opinion. The only thing that I thought was kind of interesting was the gimmick of this one weekly mission for these red, blue, and green kind of things, where the enemies were invincible for 2 rounds after bringing their HP down. And I was trying to fiddle a bit with how to get past that until I found out that Summer could be quite helpful for that because he removes the invincibility, but they reduce the invincibility to now be just 1 round, so that makes that kind of useless again. For most activities, you don't necessarily need to be super tactical or anything. Your team just needs to be strong enough or survive as long as possible, which I think is a little bit sad and makes collecting characters less enjoyable, because once you have a good team for every activity, what do you need other characters for? Besides that, I really enjoyed the event so far, and the rewards were also quite nice. It was always fun to try and find good teams that work well against the opponent. I just wish there would be something more to work towards too, that makes me feel like I want to have stronger characters, because they help me to achieve what I couldn't before. So yes, there's not a lot to do, and I hope they fix that in the future to keep players playing the game. Which already brings me to my next topic, which is Summer Noelle. In the second season of Characters, they released a very special unit, Summer Noelle, a red attacker who broke the whole meta, as well as almost every game mode that existed to that point. Many people say she shouldn't have been released so early on, and I honestly disagree with that opinion. I don't think that she has been released too early. Yes, she is a very strong character, that is true, and she helps out a good deal with a lot of activities in the game, and that's why I think she is a perfect unit for free-to-play players. Up to her release, if you didn't get insanely lucky with your characters, or just simply didn't know about them, how a lot of us did, you were simply screwed. A lot of the game modes were just too difficult to beat, and it was frustrating to not be able to make any progress, and I think Summer Noelle helped out quite a bunch. Even if you're not a big whale or quite unlucky, everyone pretty much has or has had the chance to pick up at least one copy of her, which will help out so much. Meta is only important in PvP anyways, Many people see PvP as the most important in games like this, but in my opinion, in this game it doesn't matter that much. It's not even real-time PvP, and the rewards are not the best either. So no, I don't think she was released too soon. I don't even think she is super broken. She's a very good character, yes. Very helpful in a lot of activities, and if anything, I think they should just release more challenging content to use her to her full extent. And last but not least, I would briefly like to talk about the seasons themselves and what I think about those. So every season, which is every month, they release a set of 3 characters, and you have the chance to get at least one of those characters for free through the Gate of Destiny. In general, I actually really like this feature. It also adds a great bit to the free-to-play aspect, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable to play. On top of that, it gives you more to do and a reason to want to finish the missions to unlock a new character. Personally though, I was never the biggest fan of these special forms of characters like the summer characters or the academy characters like they're doing right now, just because they don't really appear in the anime themselves and are thus a little bit ridiculous, as well as the skills and attacks they're doing. Don't get me wrong, I think it is really cool that they include these special forms of these characters, but the way they're doing it makes it almost like it's not really worth pulling for other characters, like single characters, because most of the time these seasonal characters are very strong and you have a higher chance to get 3 new characters instead of just 1, which is just overall better. So what I've done mostly up until now is to save my crystals for when the new season is dropping before I spend them, because everything else was simply not worth it. I hope this changes when some of the stronger characters appear in the story, because it would be kind of sad if I wait for my favorite characters to be released and they're kind of weaker than these seasonal variants. Yeah, and I think that is pretty much everything that I wanted to address. In total, I would say that the game does have a few problems, but overall, nothing that is making the game terrible or unplayable. I really enjoy playing it, and for the time being, I enjoy finishing my daily missions, and I am really looking forward to the releases of my favorite characters, and to creating cool combinations of characters, cool team combinations, and seeing what other challenges they come up with. I really hope for a bright future for this game. I think it really deserves it, not only because it's my favorite anime, but because I think it has great potential. The team just has to get their shit together and finally release the global version. Hopefully that comes out next month. And with that, a couple things that I mentioned hopefully get fixed, and the versions can unitedly press on and grow together. I am looking forward to that journey, and I hope that all of you join in on that as well as we go through that together. So if there's anything else that you would like me to talk about or give my opinion on, please let me know. If you're interested in this game and enjoyed this video, stay tuned for more videos like this coming soon, where I'll explain some game mechanics and give some tips on the things as I mentioned earlier. Until then, thank you very much for watching, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and remember to stay kind, stay balanced, and keep gaming. Bye everyone!